Hello everybody, it's me, it's PokemonTripHD, and welcome back to some more Dragalia content. In today's video, we're actually going to be discussing the Fractured Future Summon Showcase once again. Now, this is actually a video I've been wanting to make for the past couple showcases. Basically, you know how there's always I always make a should you summon kind of video where I give my preview and predictions on the units and how good I think they will be. Before they're released, and I actually want to make a sort of video where I go back and kind of review how accurate were my predictions and how good are these units really in the meta, once they're actually released. So that's kind of what this video is going to be about. I'm going to be discussing mainly the adventures, Delphi, Cassandra, Patia, and Audric a little bit. So I'm going to be discussing them all with terms to the DPS simulator. But also, there's a bunch of new worm prints, and there's also Chthonius added, the new dragon. But I'm not really going to discuss them too much. I might, mention them once or twice, but I'm not really going to discuss them too much overall. The video is actually going to have a lot of discussion on Delphi specifically. So yeah, it's probably not going to be that long a video, to be honest. I don't have to say too much, but yeah, I did just want to kind of discuss how they actually shape up in the meta today. But like I said, I will be talking with regards to the DPS simulator. Of course, I'll leave the link to this in the description down below. However, there's a lot of things that the DPS simulator is not, taking into account, being, when you shapeshift and who the rest of your teammates are, team-wise DPS, and if they have any buffs or etc. There's a lot of things that the DPS simulator does not take into account. Also, this is using the perfect combination and the perfect rotation, which is not always easily obtainable. So you're probably not going to be able to get the perfect combo and perfect rotation. So that's kind of something to keep in mind. Now, I will be discussing this, of course, mainly with Mercurial Golem in mind. But anyways, let's just hop right into the discussion. So first of all, I kind of want to start off with Delphi, since Delphi is kind of like the main topic of debate for this. So before Delphi was out, let's actually just go over here to Delphi's kit. So Delphi support unit, before he was even out, we're like, okay, Delphi is going to be great. And then we saw some stability. Delphi's not going to be great. Delphi's going to be bad. But actually, if you take a look over here at the DPS simulator, he's really high up here. He's what? First, second, third, fourth, fifth. He's fifth in best DPS for Shadow. Of course, this is 180. I should actually switch this to 120 seconds. I don't know why I didn't. So 120 seconds, he's actually, again, still first, second, third, fourth, fifth in DPS for Shadow still. So it goes to show how strong he is. Now, Delphi, the reason we thought he was not, or actually I thought he wasn't going to be that good, is because, again, his first ability lowers his strength by 60% during quests. I feel like that's terrible, and it's actually really bad that it lowers his DPS. However, with his third ability and his two skills, his first skill, of course, creates a debuff zone that lowers defense for 10 seconds, which is, it's guaranteed because it's a debuff zone. And also fills automatically, same like the skill 2. Both of these skills fill automatically, so it doesn't matter how good the AI is, dealing combos or whatever. This skill is going to be ready when, however many seconds, 13 seconds for this one, and then I believe 20 seconds for the skill 2. It's going to be ready in the exact time. You know when it's going to be ready, and the AI is going to use it as soon as it's ready, because again, the AI was updated to use the skills as soon as they're ready. His skill 2 deals a bit of shadow damage, deals more shadow damage if he takes damage, which he shouldn't take damage in Mercurial Gauntlet, but it inflicts poison, which is the main thing. And you can inflict so many poison sacks. Again, his first ability also allows for poison sacks as well, which is, he just stacks poison like crazy. And if you don't know, poison is, I would say, tied with the best element. Actually, Bog is also amazing, but I was going to say Burn and Poison really are the best for Mercurial Golem, because again, you can inflict those. I believe he has 0% resistance, Rory Fafnir does. So you can inflict them so many times. I believe it's, 20 times or something over the course of the fight. So you can inflict so many poison stacks on him. So it's just really, I don't know if it's actually 0%. It's somewhere low, though. I do know that. But you can inflict so many poison stacks, and that's where a lot of his DPS comes from. If you take a look at this DPS simulator, his attack is only 377 damage. His 4 strike is only 451. His skill 1 is 488. Skill 2, 254. That's really bad. But then, okay, skill 3. The skill 3 doesn't really count. But skill 3, I believe it's just a buffing skill, right? I don't know. And then anyways, the buff he brings to the team, which is the defense down debuff, actually accounts for like 1,000, which is a lot. It doesn't cover all of this, but it's a lot. And again, that's just extra on top of his skill 1. And then his skill 2, Poison, is 975, which those two already, I believe, count for more than the rest of his actual personal DPS. And then you go, I don't know what this little break is right there, but then you go to his 4-strike Poison, which is 1513 DPS. He just stacks so much poison. You can see right here, this is what, 2500 DPS just based on poison alone. And then you have, of course, the defense down, which is, let's say, 3500. So he brings so much DPS just with the poison and defense down debuff, which is actually really, really good. Because again, he himself is not going to be dealing too much DPS, which means you can just give him a bad dragon if you really want to. It shows actually Marishuten is best in slot for him, which is really surprising. Of course, this is because his strength is lowered by 60%. So if you bring a Marishuten, it basically balances it out. You know, not necessarily, but basically balances it out. So that's why Shinobi's not best in slot, because again, his personal DPS is going to be way too low if you're running a Shinobi, which is actually nice. I really like how they're running, or not running, but they're kind of interchanging, you know, Shinobi and Marishuten with certain adventures because of their kit, which I really do like, and I really hope they keep that up. But you know, a lot of his DPS comes from poison. So much of his DPS comes from poison. Again, his buffing, debuff, whatever, actually gets even better depending on your team. You know, if you're running Galacleo, Natalie, and like Botan, it's going to be even better. And if you're running, you know, if you're running on element units, of course, if it's a different Micro Gauntlet, even better. So there's a lot to that. Again, poison is probably going to be around the same DPS anyways. It does lower a little bit. You know, depends how, you know, what Micro Gauntlet challenging, etc., etc. It does change up, but overall, Delphi, I'm actually very surprised, but there's a big downside to Delphi. You know, of course, he relies so much on poison. That's the big thing. He relies so much on poison, because without poison, his DPS is very low. It's what, 3,500 without poison? So that is what, let's see how far down 3,500 is. Did not mean to highlight. 3,500 is way down here. 3,500. Oh my, that's Vita strength. So you're gonna be Vita if you can't inflict poison, which is of course. In the future, Micro Gauntlet levels, we're not actually sure if Roy Fafnir is going to have resistance to poison or whatnot. So there is a little bit of downside to Delphi. Of course, in the future, you know, endgame content, I believe right now High Jupiter can be poisoned, but don't quote me on that. But in the future, you know, bosses are very less likely to be susceptible to poison, which is going to really hinder Delphi's usability, honestly. That's going to be the main thing. That's the main problem I find with Delphi. But again, at the moment, Delphi is actually very, very good, which has honestly come to a complete shock to me. But I'm impressed. I did not think Delphi was going to be that good. But again, he's just too reliant on poison. You know, if they just give Roy some susceptibility to poison, his DPS is going to tank. Now, of course, adventures like Eyasu, Botan, Natalie, Gleo in specifically, you know, Gleo is another debuffer who's like a support-based kit. Her DPS will never lower unless they do like some range resistance thing, or like you can't get a defense down buff or something. Her DPS is always going to be at the top. There's literally nothing they can change besides making like range resistance to make her DPS tank, which is just, you know, like I said, Gleo's going to be at the top forever, but of course you can't really compare Delphi to Gleo. That's just not even fair. So Delphi by himself, like I said, he's good, but he's just too reliant on poison in my opinion. But again, I'm honestly really shocked how good Delphi is. That allows for so much you know, potential for the future of Dragalia Lost and what they want to make the characters do, which I really do like, and I'm really happy for that. Anyways, that's all I have to say about Delphi. Now let's actually talk about Cassandra. So first of all, Cassandra on the DPS simulator, she's actually very low. She's all the way down here. Cassandra right here. Also, this is Beautiful Nothingness, which I never thought would even, I don't even know what that does, to be honest. But Beautiful Nothingness is there. I might as well look it up right now. What the heck does Beautiful Nothingness do? Anyways, also, for Delphi, his best in slot was Resounding Rendition and Sister's Day Out. I thought Chocolatiers would be better than Sister's Day Out, but I guess because his skills don't take that long to charge anyways, Sister's Day Out is fine. But let's see, what does Beautiful Nothingness do? Let's do this live checking. Anyways, back down here to Cassandra. Her DPS is 4,300. Now, this is actually really low, especially when you compare it to, you know, Galacleo and Veronica. Veronica is up here at 5,000 and 5,100, let's just say. And then Gleo is, of course, all the way up here with 8,800. Cassandra is very low. However, if you scroll a little bit to the right, I believe you guys can see this. Cassandra is right here. It says no counter damage, which means they don't take counter damage into account. All right, so Beautiful Nothingness, HP 7 equals strength plus 10% and crit rate plus 5%. Okay, that's interesting. I'm actually surprised that's the best there. But okay, anyways, like I said, DPS simulator is a little weird sometimes. But so Cassandra, the main thing that her DPS comes from is, of course, her skill 2, which deals more damage based on how much damage you take. Again, just like Fjorm's skill 2, just like Leia's skill 2, just like Delphi's skill 2. So more damage it takes, she's going to deal more damage. Of course, that's not taken into account for the DPS simulator. There's like no way that can even take that into account. So that's going to be nerd. Of course, with skill prep, that means at the beginning of High Dragon Trial fights, you can use it. Para-res, good for High Jupiter. And then Resilient Offense is another big chunk of her DPS. Now let's see. Does it take Resilient Offense into account? It does not. I don't see resilient offense anywhere over here into account. So, of course, this does not take into resilient offense either, which is going to upgrade her DPS even more. Again, resilient offense is just last offense, but even better. Increase the strength by 10% for the remainder of the quest and use HP drops 30%. Up to 3 times per quest. Now, if you can get this off for all 3 times, that's a 30% permanent strength increase. However, that's probably not going to happen. You're probably going to get it off once at the beginning of High Jupiter, maybe once like towards the middle of it when he does some sparking thing, and then that's probably it, honestly. So overall, you can count on basically a 10% strength increase for High Dragon Trials, which is actually, like I said, really good. It's going to upgrade your DPS a lot because not only is it going to, it's not going to be a flat out, 10% increase. It's not just going to flat out go up by 430 or whatever. It's going to be a lot higher than that. Now, of course, even with that, is she going to be better than Veronica and Galacleo? Now, Galacleo, no way. She's not going to be better than Galacleo, but is she going to be better than Veronica? I do think she's actually going to be better than Veronica for High Dragon Trials. However, I don't think Cassandra's good for Mercurial Gauntlet because, again, she cannot get off this resilient offense. Even her skill prep plus skill 2 just really doesn't make too much sense for Mercurial Gauntlet because, again, you don't want to take too much damage. However, she does have low SP costs on them, which is good, but I do think Veronica and Galacleo will be better for Mercurial Gauntlet because, again, I feel like the main chunk of her DPS comes from this resilient offense skill, which is, again, the main chunk of her DPS. I do think she's better than Veronica for High Dragon Trials because, again, Veronica relies a lot on getting low HP, which, she will do for High Dragon Trials, but also she needs to be at a low amount of HP to get her, I believe it's her skill 2, to get boosted DPS, which, again, doesn't synergize with her skill 1, which heals. And it's just, it's a big cluster, and it's really hard to use Veronica, in my opinion. So I would say Cassandra is better than Veronica, but of course, neither of them even compared to Galacleo. So Cassandra, she's a little worse than I thought she would be, to be completely honest. I thought she would be a lot better with, low SP costs and high modifiers on her skills, but, pretty disappointing. But again, like I said, she will be better for High Dragon Trials, in my opinion. But again, Mercurial Gauntlet, she just does not shine at all. So very disappointing. So I was actually wrong for both of them. I thought it would be complete opposite. I thought Cassandra would be much better and Delphi would be much worse. But it turns out Delphi's actually really good and Cassandra's not super good. However, like I said, they both have a lot of potential, but also Delphi has a lot of unpotential because, susceptibility. Anyways, Patia. Let's talk about Patia. Where's Patia on the DPS simulator? Patia is way down here. There's Audric. Audric is above her. Patia is way down here, which is honestly, it kind of sucks, but this was to be expected. I kind of did predict this because, again, Patia is a defense unit. There's not too many great defensive units out there. Sparrow's Guard, increased entire team defense. Again, that's not an attack. If it was an attacking buff skill, she would be so good. She would be Noelle. She would be Emma. She would be all the way up there on the DPS sim. However, it's just defense, which means you're going to have to build around it, with double buffs and everything. Skill 2 does inflict bleed, which is, again, really good. And buff time, para-res, prime devastation. Again, she's more of a raid unit, I feel like. For High Dragon Trials, you could meme with her, with like Chocolatier or something and allow some other units to not bring, the High Dragon Trial Worm Print, which, could actually help. I see some usage in that. However, she's mainly for, I feel like, raids. Double buff shenanigans can work for her. Again, it's her skill 1, but it's still a pretty high SP cost. 4,300 is a little high. But compared to skill 2s that would have a buff, defense buff, those are usually like 6,000 or something. So it is pretty good for that in regards. But again, she's mainly for raids. Again, HP co-ability is great. Defense up is great. Bleed on a defense unit is also really good. Like I said, buff time, para-res, etc., etc. She's really good for this raid going on right now. Chronos Clash. But again, Mercurial Gauntlet, she doesn't really shine too much, but she does have some use. Prime Devastation is nice. Buff skills is nice. And she can actually allow for a lot of double buff. There's a new Worm Prime, I believe, which gives double buff. So there's a lot of usage where that works, but I feel like she's mainly for raids. That's my opinion. Again, DPS Simulator doesn't take into account what mode you're doing. Kind of. I mean, it kind of does, but you know what I mean. Again, like I said, raids is really where she's going to shine. I was kind of predicting this from Patia, but again, Patia is so cute. So I don't know. It's okay. She's just so cute. Next up, we have Audric. Where's Audric on the DPS Simulator? Again, Audric is a little bit higher than Patia. Something the DPS Simulator doesn't take into account is dragoning, though, and dragon damage as well. So that's the reason Audric is actually so low, because, again, dragon damage and dragon, shapeshifting is just not taken into account. So let's go over Audric real quick. Audric is, of course, I was going to say spoiler. Never mind. Audric is good. His two skills are both very low SP costs with, again, pretty solid modifiers. I want to say amazing modifiers, actually, but the main, actually, okay, they're not good modifiers, but the main thing is they have low SP costs, and again, dragon gauge by 3% of the attack. 3% is kind of low, but again, low SP cost means he's going to get that off plenty of times and get it go up. Again, to get it to go up. Dragon haste is nice. Shapeshift prep, 10% of Dragon Age starter quest is good for him specifically. Especially allows for, if you're running 4 Shapeshift prep prints on, your units, you can actually drag them at the very beginning of a fight. It allows for some decently unique high Dragon Trial clears, which is pretty cool. Perez is only 50%, which is a big downside, but Cursed Blood is actually the very first time we've ever seen a skill like this. When in Dragon form, increases crit rate by 30%, but reduces defense by 30%. Now, of course, if you're already in Dragon form, you don't really care about defense. It is just going to make it so that when you get hit, your Dragon bar is just going to fly down. But again, it's going to allow for more DPS when you're in Dragon. Because again, 30% extra critical rate is just insanely high. So again, he's really relying on Dragon. Again, his skill 1 wants him to shapeshift, his shapeshift prep wants him to shapeshift, and his Cursed Blood wants him to shapeshift. Again, Shining Overload is perfect for him because when you shapeshift, you get Dragon's Claws, which is not going to help his Cursed Blood DPS. It's going to help his DPS when he's not a dragon anymore. So again, for raids, Audric is amazing. He's one of the best units we've ever seen for raids. There's also a new worm print, since we're talking about shapeshifting. There's a new worm print which allows for shapeshift. When Dragon's Claws for units that are not swords. It used to just be swords. Actually, it wasn't only swords, but like you would only use Shining Overload for swords anyways. But now it's actually dragon damage and Dragon's Claw. So really good worm print there that was just released. So that's again another great thing that came out of this banner. But again, Audric mainly for raids. High Dragon Trials also he could work. I see him working, but again the pair res 50% is just really low. And plus, I feel like he really doesn't take advantage of Shapeshift prep unless everyone is running, of course, the Shapeshift prep print, which I feel like is just going to lower everyone's DPS a lot when it really shouldn't. So again, that's a big downside. So overall, I would say Audric is an average unit at best. In terms of welfares, how good is he in terms of welfares? I would say Botan is easily better. 100% Botan is better. I would say Alphonse is better, and then I would say Summer Estelle is better, but then I would say Audric is probably the next best. I would say Audric. Zhuanzhang, how good is Zhuanzhang? Honestly, I don't know. I would say Audric is probably around number 5, maybe 3 to 5, depending how. Okay, maybe not 3. You know what I mean. He's okay. He's good. He's okay and good. He's okay-ish to good-ish. So that's what I feel about Audric overall. Yeah, it's kind of my thoughts on the units after they've been released. Let me know your thoughts on all these units. I said everything I already wanted to. Hopefully this wasn't too long of a video. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts on Delphi, Cassandra, Patia, Audric. If you want to talk about the Worm Prince, Chthonius, whatever the case may be. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. A quick word about Chthonius, though. Just like, I don't know if I talked about this earlier, but just like I thought, not as good as Marsh did for Mercurial Golem. However, for raids, he's amazing. And for High Dragon Trials, he works for High Dragon Trials, but again, just run Marston. Marston's probably better. So yeah, that's everything. That's the end of this video. Again, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Have a great day. Until next time, have a nice trip.